certainly couldn't manage sophisticated shading or attempt tiny patterns. Victoria wasn't just very skilled with her brushwork. She was an eloquent and inventive writer too. She wrote this delightful story when she was 10. Alice's stepmother doesn't like her and persuades her father to send her to boarding school. There's no mention of holidays. Alice has to stay away for 6 whole years. This is a sad storyline, after my own heart. Victoria introduces us to each girl at the boarding school. They're a very interesting and varied bunch. I felt very sorry for little orphaned Ernestine and her unfortunate appearance, but my favourite of all the girls is naughty Diana, whose violent temper makes her behave in a most indecorous manner. There's an interesting plot about a kitten, and the tale ends happily, if a little hurriedly. Victoria was obviously keen to get to the end of her story. I know the feeling. If Victoria hadn't been destined to be queen, I think she might have made a remarkable novelist. I hope you enjoy her book. Jacqueline Wilson.
"Oh, do not send me away, dear papa," exclaimed Alice Laselles as she threw her arms around her papa's neck. "Don't send me away. Oh, let me stay with you." And she sobbed bitterly.
"Dear Alice, it is necessary for you to go, my love. So go to bed, my dear, and be ready for me tomorrow morning," replied her father.
Poor Alice wept bitterly as she left the room and slowly crept upstairs. The above conversation proceeded from Colonel Lascelles having told his little daughter, a lovely girl of 12 years old, that she must accompany him the next morning to Mrs. Duncombe's school, a lady who lived about 30 miles from Lascelles Hall, and who took in 8 young ladies at a time. She was highly recommended for her great respectability, amiability, and sweetness of temper. Colonel Lascelles had the misfortune to lose his wife about 2 years ago, by whom he had only one child, Alice. After she had been dead about a year, he married a beautiful young lady, only 17 years old, and by whom he now had a second daughter. But young Mrs. Lascelles did not like poor Alice. She always hinted to her husband that the girl would be much happier at school among other girls. At first, Colonel Lascelles would not hear of parting from his only child, his pretty, mild Alice. But when he became the father of a second little girl, and Mrs. Lascelles told him he neglected both mother and daughter for Alice, he weakly consented to send her to school for 6 years, when she would be of an age to be able to go out in company. Poor Alice got up with a heavy heart and swollen eyes the next day, and prepared herself for her journey. The idea of not seeing her once happy home for 6 years was terrible to her. She could not think of parting from her dear papa, and of not seeing her little sister, Rose, whom she loved so to fondle, and her dog Frisk, and her black pony, Bob. At last, Colonel Lascelles called her to say goodbye to her unworthy and selfish stepmother. As she kissed her little sister's warm cheek, the big tears rolled down her lovely face, and she wept sadly.
"Come, don't cry so, love," said Mrs. Lascelles. "Think of all the pretty girls you'll see soon."
But Alice was not so much of a child not to see that her departure was the work of her stepmother, and she sullenly left the room and followed her papa downstairs, where she took leave, with many tears, of poor Frisk.
"Pray take care of him," said she to Martha, the housekeeper, "and don't forget to give him his bread and milk for breakfast, and his toast and butter for supper."
"You need not fear, miss," said the good woman, "for I dearly love Frisk myself for your sake."
Then she entered the chaise and cried almost the whole way. When they were about 5 miles from the school, her father told her that she must dry her tears and cheer up, as they would soon be there. At length, the chaise stopped before a large